On the SUV side of things, the Macan is the entry level for Porsche, so let's see what it's all about. I'll include a link to the Porsche and Downtown Salt Lake's website in the description down below. They're providing us with this Macan. If you have any questions, just ask for Matt Hendry. Let's get into it. This week's giveaway highlight is a classic Corvette with a big block V8. If you're interested, use code BHC or click the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment. This will give you 4x bonus entries on any donation $25 or more. Under the hood is a turbo 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through a 7-speed dual clutch. Fuel economy is 19 around town, 25 on the highway, with power outputs being 261 horsepower and then 295 pound-feet of torque. This will always be cool, having the cutouts for the headlights and the hood. We're closing in on 500,000 subscribers. I'd really appreciate it if you'd help out with that. Of course, we have a very sleek hood design in normal Porsche fashion. And then look at the daytime running lights, very sharp looking. You have the actual turn signal indicator down below in that little strip. And then you guys can see you do have a front camera with this one. There's not really much else to go over when it comes to the front end. 235 by 55 by 19. You've got silver wheels, and they even match the valve stem cap to the wheel coloration. That's attention to detail. The tire and wheel setup in the rear, by the way, is 255 by 50 by 19, so slightly staggered setup. Here's the side profile again. That very sleek tapered design continues. When it comes to key fob features, you've got your lock unlock, the opening for the hatch, Porsche logo, and then of course the key looks like a car. Seats do fold down flat, which helps out with the overall usability of the cargo area. This one is equipped with air suspension, so it can raise and lower. And overall, this is not a huge car, but it actually has quite a bit of space here on the back. There's also a cargo cover built in from the factory. And then you do have a little spare tire underneath. And this is kind of funny, even the floor mats have a more premium finish compared to other manufacturers. This whole system is of course power, so I just press that and that will lower the hatch down. Smoked out light bar here in the rear, and then of course got the Macan logo. That will pretty much cap things off for the exterior. Keyless entry, and let's check out the interior. Two-tone coloration with the door panel, lots of nice stitching as well. The seats are perforated down the center section. It's actually a pretty good room back here. Got a little storage pocket, heated seats, vents, as well as our own climate zone in the back. And although it kind of slopes down the back, there's actually quite a bit of headroom. Keyless entry for up front, and let's check that out. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. You got lots of soft touch up top, memory seats. The mirrors power fold in. You've got all the remote controls, and everything has a nice actuation to it, but there's the rest of the door panel. Front seats are perforated all down the center, and there's a billion different adjustments, including lumbar support too. Light controls to the left of the steering wheel, and then this is the ignition switch. Soft touch all around the steering wheel with paddles on the back, practical controls on the front face, like your voice command controls, for example. And then you still have all the stalks for everything, including cruise on the back, 3 different stalks. And this is one of the few Porsches that still has an analog gauge cluster, which I think looks beautiful, kind of like the analog. And you still have a digital element that you can customize, so it kind of has the best of both worlds. Backup camera there in reverse, but of course it's 360, so you can switch between the camera views. As for the rest of the infotainment system, response time with the screen is pretty good. It does take a second for some of the pages to load up, but I mean, I would say overall it's a good system. There are some physical controls there for the volume below, and these are really cool for the climate. Again, the actuation on them is fantastic, feels very premium. The shifter too, the actuation with that's great. And then you have stuff for like the heated and ventilated seats. It's on this haptic feedback tab. There are more adjustments on that tab too, like the auto stop start if you can turn that off. You even have an off-road mode to adjust the suspension, well, the shock part of it, but also you have air suspension, you can raise and lower it. Some cup holders. Center console's got some USB ports there. Nice trim on the top, and this is kind of cool with the trim on the side. The dash is very premium looking, and the glove box has a very nice handle there. Nice trim on top. We've got the Sport Chrono clock. And then this does have a panoramic sunroof. 2026 Macan. Now the base price is $64, but you usually just don't see the lower priced Macans because there's a lot of options to add to them, and all those options typically get added. But after everything, this one stickers for $85,110. Let's see how the base Macan performs. Porsche Macan base. I've never truly seen like a base Macan, you know, like a no options added version. I don't know if that actually ever gets built. Probably somewhere. But you know, part of the reason why we don't have like base Macans here in the US, especially here in Utah, people just like adding options. That's just how that was weird. What's that button? Oh, it's for the heated steering wheel. I feel stupid. That's kind of cool though, that the button's there on the center part of the bottom of the steering wheel. Now the transmission is razor sharp. There is a little bit of lurchiness at low speeds. It's very, very good for a dual clutch, but it does still exist. It certainly does still exist. The steering is light, but very direct. I think Porsche has one of the best electronic steering racks out there where you still feel, you know, kind of engaged, but it's also really easy to use. And the suspension on this, with the air suspension, is pretty darn comfortable for daily driving. Yeah, again, going over the bumps and everything, it does a really good job. See how it feels in the Sport? It's gonna tighten things up a bit. Yeah, it's still pretty comfortable, I think. Not bad at all. The thing that I find hilarious about the speedometer is it, like, the needle's basically down until you're at like 50 miles per hour. It's like they expect you to go quick in Porsches. Even the 4-cylinder ones. They expect you to have a little bit of fun. Yeah, the actuation unit on the turn signal, it's like a notch, a nice click into place. It's got good power. Again, you gotta remember this is the base powertrain. Yeah, you look at the power figures on paper and you're like, yeah, 261 horsepower, 4-cylinder, turbo. It's not gonna feel that strong, but it actually feels pretty peppy. And the transmission helps because it's razor sharp. It's super quick. It's like instant. So entry-level Macan. It's really nice. Here's my one critique of the entry-level Macan. And you know, Porsche is still kind of building entry-level, at least for the US market. I think that it's less of a critique and more of just I guess something I'm noticing. If someone's looking at like a 911, they're probably not cross-shopping. If someone's looking at a Cayman or a Boxster, there might be a little bit of cross-shopping, but not too much. If someone's looking at a super loaded up Macan or Cayenne, like you're talking about like the top of the line, probably not cross-shopping. But at this baseline they are. And I don't think that Porsche, I don't know if they realize that or not. I don't know. I've never had a chance to talk to anyone at corporate. Also, parking this is going to be fun in this tight lot. But the point that I'm trying to make here is people are going to be comparing to a lot of other vehicles. And so, you know, Porsche goes, oh, hey, this is our entry level. This is the small one. So, you know, it's still a Porsche. So it's going to be at this price point. And so then people look at that and they're like, yeah, about that, right? I'd rather get XYZ that gives me this or that. It's a bigger car or has more power or whatever. So what I'm getting at is Porsche would almost benefit from only, I mean, let me know if I'm wrong, but Porsche would almost benefit from only selling the loaded up cars in the US market. Because there's no cross shopping with those cars. There's always demand for them. And then it also kind of, Porsche's been going towards, you know, the more premium thing. And I think it would actually help out with that, because it's like, okay, if you can't get a Porsche for less than, you know, let's say 150 grand, whatever it ends up being, 120 grand. I can't remember how much a Cayenne, or not a Cayenne, Macan Turbo is. Then it would kind of create a little bit more of a Ferrari type effect, where it's more of a premium thing here in the US. I don't know. I'm rambling. Let me know your thoughts.